To everybody behind the conference. Really enjoyed this morning, and I know what a tough job it is putting this on online. So well done, and thank you very much to you guys for doing that. So I want to give obviously a 10-minute whistle-stop tour with a little bit of provocation and maybe a little bit of practical kind of consideration from our perspective. And it's been really good to hear from other people. Tony, you commented on the artwork and the kind of the jolliness, the bright, cheery effect that we're giving here at the university, and I'm sure we're not the only ones. And I don't want to put a damper on it, but I do want to take us to a perhaps less cheery picture in terms of contextualization. Many of you will be familiar perhaps with Nature's survey from November last year that looked at researchers. And there we've got a fairly poignant position in terms of the PGR experience. 36% having sought help for anxiety or depression, and 22% having reported bullying or harassment. You can read the other bits for themselves, but the demographic of our doctoral students is such that, you know, just under a quarter there were reporting having caring responsibilities. And so these are, you know, these are people first and foremost, with lives, with concerns, and whom, you know, across the sector we have a duty of care to serve and to protect. Rather depressingly, Prez really confirmed that data. Their study last year also reported that the areas where people felt there needed to be change was working culture and environment. And in terms of their happiness and their life satisfaction, it was pretty low. It was 23%. So really quite a miserable, stark picture painted from the evidence. Wellcome Trust, in their survey that's been much talked about, their Imagining Research Culture survey, are finding similar things. These are not just obviously for research students, but you'll note there the piece in bold in the middle, that research students and junior researchers, 23% of those felt pressured by their supervisor to find a particular result. You know, these cannot be dismissed. There's a culture that is systemic, not just in the UK, but as Stan Taylor's super rigorous work has shown us, this is global. There is an issue going on with the way that supervision is both being handled, supported, and discussed. And I think what we're doing today as a sector is really valuable in that space. Thank you, Stan, for allowing me to kind of use these quotes. And I want to just take us back a little bit in terms of this role is changing. Supervisors originally were experts in their field. You know, they know their research field, they know empirical data, they know how to support methodologies, etc. They are now wearing a multiple number of hats. And that's really the best metaphor I can think to describe of this. So, you know, they're being asked to do many, many things, and the researcher developers amongst you in the audience will know that, you know, the drivers around the skills agenda, the requirements from QAA require students to be engaged in a number of professional development complementary activities which supervisors are supporting. So my kind of hypothesis, my argument here really is that the curriculum, if that's how we describe it, the supervisory curriculum is expanding. And gone are these days where we look at subject expert and patron and, you know, opening of physical, metaphysical, online doors now is just one aspect of that role. You know, we're looking at supervisors supporting mental health, well-being, outreach, public engagement, you know, the many concordats that sit behind this, safeguarding, you name it. Supervisors are being expected to really, again, you know, don a number of caps here. My question then is, should we be revising that curriculum and thinking about outsourcing some of those roles to other people? And I'm really, you know, I want to pay respects to the work from the Prosper team in terms of the work that they're doing to really equip and upskill postdocs in this space. we're kind of following your footsteps a little bit. So my question is then, are we doing enough? Stan and his colleagues and Kay Giccioni that you heard from this morning would say, no, we're not. The presentation we've just heard from Pam and Co would suggest that, the workshops, the range that we're doing, we're doing some good stuff, don't get me wrong. I'm one of you, I'm not pointing a finger suggesting we're not trying our best here, but we are kind of tinkering around the edges, I feel. And we're being, perhaps, and I am being deliberately controversial here, a little bit tokenistic in the way that we're approaching this. What are we doing? We're opening up those roles to include a number of different, what I'm calling agents of change here. So we have a grassroots-led initiative, Thrive and Survive in Your PhD. That was initiated by PhD students for PhD students about 2.5 years ago now. It's got a real life, it's got a real momentum, and we support somebody to effectively coordinate that series of activities. And they are forums where PGR students and postdocs contribute. So there's alumni involved in that as well. We've also now got a mentoring scheme so that we've trained postdocs as mentors, and they are for PhD students in the last sort of 18 months of their registration, recognizing from the literature and from other people's experience that level of dissatisfaction and isolation increases over time. So, the fourth years, those in final stages are feeling it more in terms of their mental health. At the start of that process, we've initiated a buddy scheme this year, and that's a welcome scheme for recognizing that many of our researchers now are working online. There's very few of them on campus. And so they're doing a virtual welcome, a virtual hello, and they are providing an extra touch point for their students. So again, peer-to-peer, and we'll evaluate it. We've literally just launched it. We've got about 88 students involved. So in terms of how we think about and conceptualize this, I want to really pay practice and homage to UKCGE and the work that Stan's done in this area. So the Good Supervisory Framework, it provides a structured framework for really rewarding and thinking about the way in which we provide and support supervisors. And what we've done at York is, for a number of years, is provide a number of face-to-face, they're now online sessions around the areas that you see on the screen there. They're now 90 minutes, they're online, and there's a Padlet, there's a VLE set of support and resources behind it. What we've done is pull all that together in an online tutorial called Being an Effective Supervisor tutorial, so BEST. Is the acronym for that. This is a snapshot of that. It takes our supervisors through all of our institutional policies, frameworks, procedures, stuff they need to know, basically, the kind of boring stuff, but it's all in one place. There are questions, there's some prompts, there's some videos from students and from supervisors, and they are really powerful in terms of capturing the student and supervisory experience, and a lot of support there. It's organised around the UKCGE framework, and I'm very pleased to be able to say that we've given it to UKCGE under Creative Commons license. Ian, I think, or perhaps Owen are in the audience at the moment, and so they're going to make it available to the sector. You'll add in all of your own stuff, to make it relevant, but you can keep what you like of ours, of the basic structure, and it's there. It's our gift to you. So I want to conclude then, recognising time, with a few quite controversial questions here. If we really are going to have supervisors, and here are our, agents of change, notwithstanding perhaps some of the sexism that goes on with that imagery, but never mind, it's coming to pass. And I was struck also with this idea of supervision, is that Lois Lane kind of, you've got me, who's got you, to Superman. Are we really supporting supervisors properly? What else do they need? What's the mental health and well-being of our supervisors? I would love to do a survey and try and find out what the levels of satisfaction are of supervisors. And I have pitched that tentatively with a few people, funding type of people, to see if we can do that. I want to know whether, as a result of this conference, we could perhaps provide an evidence base for a shift in the way that we think about supervision. So as a wider team initiative with all of these different agents of change, and I'm talking researcher developers, alumni, mentors, bodies, perhaps counsellors, all of the people out there who we know support the process, but who at the moment are on the periphery and aren't seen as agents of change. You know, can we use the new Researcher Development Concordat and its emphasis on employment, but particularly on the environment and culture aspect, to really rethink and revise perhaps the way that we think about supervision? And my last final provocation, and this is to any funders out there, recognizing the isolation and the loneliness that some of our students are feeling, and I say some, 36% of them. Are we recruiting students to do an original piece of research? Is that the right way? Or could we completely rethink the assessment and be recruiting teams of students, either within a discipline or cross-discipline or interdiscipline and intersector, to conduct research that has societal impact, rather than saying it's an original contribution and you're on your own? Now that is a provocation, and I'm putting out there for thought. Thanks, Tony, for the extra time. Really happy to answer questions, and very happy to be able to contribute in this way. Thank you.